that hashtag show here with Candis Cayne talking about her secret garden.
Sarah.
So let's talk about this. It's a gardening show. Tell me more. Everything.
Oh my God. Well, it's like a trans Martha Stewart meets Pee-wee's Playhouse. So I had an idea during the pandemic when I created this garden and it turned out really beautiful. I was like, oh, maybe I should film this. And I talked to my writing partner and best friend, Dana Davis, who plays Miss Weeds on the show. And I was like, I want to do a garden show. And she's like, but we have to make it magical. And I was like, that is such a good idea. So we found Kristen Carroll from SpoPro and we made this show. And my whole goal was to create an easy gardening show that people could watch and learn how to do things to give them their own little secret gardens, because it was a really hard time for all of us, including myself, and my garden saved me. So that's why I did it.
And we all had our own pandemic projects. I feel like we got into things. Were you always into gardening, or was that purely just like, you know what, I want to learn this now?
I've always been really weirdly geeky knowledgeable about plants and gardens, and I've been a member of all the gardens in my area, but I hadn't ever, and I did some gardening, but I'd never done a garden like this extensively and designed it and designed the pool and the garden beds around the pool. And so it is a new 5 years kind of, relatively 5 years passion. But I've always been passionate about it. I'm not a horticulturist or a botanist, but I do weirdly geek out on it, and I know a lot of stuff.
I love it. And I love that you called it Pee-wee's Playhouse, because there are so many fun characters that pop in. Where did that idea come from? Why didn't you want it to just like be you telling people how to do things?
My go-to is camp, and my go-to is acting. And I've done reality shows with I Am Kate and other, different things. And I just wanted to do something that nobody had ever seen before. And so it all started with Mustafa, the Middle Eastern merman, that Dana thought of. And she was like, we have to have a merman. And then it went from there, Succulent and Mr. Hammer and Poppy Seeds. So it all just kind of went from there. And it's a really fun way to learn something.
I love it. Now, for those that might want a little bit of advice, what's the mistake that you see a lot of people who are starting their own gardens make?
I find it, especially here in Southern California, overwatering is a really common mistake. That the plant, the topsoil looks dry, so they overwater it. And so I really have created this garden that in the hottest summer, in July and in August, I water once to twice a week, the whole yard. But from October all the way to almost June, I don't water it at all except for my potted plants outside. So I think that's a thing that people do. Another is they plant plants that aren't good for their climate. And so it's like an uphill battle. You'll never win,
Absolutely. Like, that's a big thing I think I learned. I don't have a green thumb.
And there are plants that no one can kill, or almost no one.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Like a lime-colored thumb.
I like that. Lime colored. I'll take it. Now, episode 1 starts with a succulent pot. What else can people expect to learn in your secret garden?
Well, I do a lot of how-to at home, like planting like a shade garden and, how to make your sections of your garden look beautiful. They also can learn, I do full makeovers of full gardens. So they can actually look at a garden that they have a similar, outside space as, and they can kind of get an idea of how they could possibly plant themselves. So I think there's a garden for everyone. From succulents to squash, there's a garden for everyone.
Now, where can everyone watch Candis Cayne's Secret Garden?
So Candis Cayne's Secret Garden right now is on Hulu, ladies and gentlemen. Hulu! And the Advocate channel. And go to Hulu, type in Candis Cayne's Secret Garden. It's a fun show.